All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of, I'm not too sure what we're calling this. I think we're
Tr-
rolling with Truth Talk.
Truth talk.
Truth,
Truth talk.
Truth
Come on
Talk.
now.
So
All right.
I'm Joe Jarvis. This is my co-host, Sir Alex Zach. I guess you want to take it from here, Alex. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, so today we wanted to talk about the importance of social media and kind of how you can use that in your everyday life and in business just to kind of to boost up your influence and boost up how much money you're making, right? I mean,
Mhm.
let me just start off asking this. What are some things that you do just on social media or what are some things that you've been doing on social media to help gain some more influence and ultimately some more money?
I mean, I post on YouTube, probably not as much as I would like to. Trying to be more consistent in that department, but just have been like super busy with other stuff. I was kind of thinking about this a while back. And it's kind of like everybody always uses social media in some form,
Mhm.
and none of those forms would not benefit from you already having an existing brand. Like for example, like disregard this if you're gonna go set up like a physical business. If you're gonna go set up like a coffee shop or something, like just some
Mhm.
like on the
Yeah,
street
yeah.
corner somewhere,
Mhm.
yeah, you don't need social media to grow that business, right?
It
But
could
if you're
help though.
it could help, but you don't need it. I wouldn't
Yeah,
say you
it's
need
not
it,
a
right?
necessity.
Now, what I would say though is that if you're on the internet, you need social media in some capacity. You're dependent on it in some capacity. So I didn't like social media when I was first starting out because there's always the threat of like, well, what if the platform just deletes my account or they shadow ban me or like for whatever reason you trigger some flag on your account and then in an instant it's all taken away. So I didn't like it because I didn't like the dependence factor.
On
But I
the
realized that
platform.
exactly. But then I realized to a certain extent, like you're always going to be dependent on social media in some capacity. So you may as well just build a brand while you're on it. Because like you need to get traffic somehow, right?
And I
And it's
mean,
like if
and think about it like
go
this,
ahead.
right? If people are going to your social media page, right? They're there for one of two reasons. One, because they need something, right? They're getting some value from it. Or two, well, actually, let's do this right. Three reasons, right? I'd say if they're there because they have some value, right? Number two, if they're there because they're getting entertained, they're getting something out of it that's making them laugh. It's funny, it's interesting, it's a story, right? And
Yeah,
then number three, they're there for you, right? They want to hear about your story, right? And that's
right.
the one that you want to get to. You want to get to the point where people are coming to your page to look for you, right? And if they're looking for you, that's when you can start selling that info product. That's when you can start doing all these other things, right? You can
Yeah.
branch off of that, right? So that's the one thing I would say. Anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this and it was like, so really if you're on the internet, how are you going to get customers? Well, you're either going to do outreach, you're going to individually reach out to those people either via social media platforms or via email, maybe text
Instagram,
messages,
Twitter, whatever it may
but
be.
you're going to get your shit banned pretty quickly if you try to do like anything out of those two
Hmm.
major ones. Either that, you can run ads,
Ads.
you do inbound from social media, from branding. Is there anything else? I think those are the main three, right?
Yeah, I would say what you're saying for like gaining clients or like
Yeah,
gaining clients, generating
to
clients.
acquire clients in an internet business, I would say that that's it,
For
right?
outbound, right? You're reaching out. The three main things that I would say, obviously Instagram, right? We talked about that. And I don't know if y'all, people who are watching this, if you have done Instagram for outreach, it typically, like, depending on how age your account is, it's typically like 10 to 20 messages before it stops you. And you don't want to hit that limit because if you hit that limit, you're gonna possibly,
I've got my
get
account
banned
banned
or get
so many times,
exactly.
so
You
many
don't want to
times.
hit that limit, right? So just try to keep it between 10 to 20 every 2 hours. That's the typically what it is for an account. If it's
It's
newer,
low.
then
It's
it's a
lower
little
than
bit
that for me.
less.
I'm on
For
like
me
their
it's
spam
20. For
list.
me it's always been 20.
Hmm.
On three different accounts that it's always been 20. So depends, I guess. I'm not really sure how that works, but that's typically the
Yeah.
limit. Then I would say email outreach, right? That's the other thing. If you're outreaching for people, email, you know more about that. You can kind of just give a little bit of a just how would you do it if you how
You
would
want
you
me to
go
riff
about
on
it to
that?
start? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what industry I was going after. if I was going after a very niche industry where if you were to look them up on any of the major databases, it would be like sub 5K. I
Mhm.
wouldn't actually do automated outreach. I would do it all somewhat
Personalized.
personalized to a certain extent. Like, I don't think you need to do each one like from scratch. I think like
Mhm.
what I've done is I've done templates where it's like, hey, name, saw your recent post about fill in the blank, reaching out because of fill in the blank, and here's our offer. Think it could really help. Insert the name of their offer. Would you mind if I sent you a video breaking down some more thoughts on this? Something like that,
Yeah.
where it's personalized because each one of those variables would be have to be filled in manually, but you can ram through like a bunch of those in one sitting. Now, if you want to get into the technical stuff for like how you do that at scale, trying to think about where to start with this. So first of all, you would need a tool to do it. Like, you're not going to be sending each email manually, so get a tool for it. Two, buy domains. You're going to need a bunch of domains because you
If you
need to
want to send
silo
out a
off.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, because the SMTP servers, or not the servers, the providers, the email providers, they're gonna flag any sort of basically like mass outreach messages.
Mhm.
Just because they're tightening down like super hard on that stuff. I think Google in the coming months, if per 1,000 messages you send, you get marked as spam more than 3 times, they're banning your stuff. They're banning your account, which
That's
is not a
crazy.
lot. Like 3 out of 1,000 is not a lot. Um, and then yeah, get domains, get them warmed up. Dude, go watch a YouTube tutorial on how to do all that. But where I was
Yeah,
going
I mean, we just
earlier,
want to get like a little summary of like how it is, right? Like how just to get into it if someone needs to look into it, right? And
yeah, I
then
think we
so
could
we
do a
said
whole
we said
podcast on that.
Instagram, we said email. Third thing, I like doing cold calls. Cold
I
calls
would
is
also put
always
LinkedIn in there.
LinkedIn is also in there. Cold calls, I mean, not too much I can say about it, right? I mean, focus on your tonality, focus on, I mean, it just, to be honest, it just takes time, right? The more you do,
Yeah.
the better you get. It's that straightforward. But the reason I'm saying this, right, is because it all ties into this theme of social media, right? Because if you are doing email, right, and you have that credibility on social media, it's very easy for someone to click on your thing and be like, "Oh, who's Joe Jarvis? Let me look him up on
Exactly.
Instagram." Boom, he's right there. Oh, he has a brand. Oh, he does that. He's a
Yeah,
real
it's like,
human. He's right there,
yeah.
right? And it's the
Any
same thing
anybody,
on a call, right? If you're on a call, boom. I'm actually Alex. You can go look up my Instagram, right? And then boom, I'm right there, right? So it's
yeah.
pretty simple, like if you're doing it like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're emailing somebody, they're automatically going to assume that you're a scammer until proven otherwise. Like, you're guilty until proven innocent when you send them just an unsolicited email. Because they don't know you, they don't know who you are, and they are a cold lead. They don't know anything about you.
Of
Um,
course.
so it's going to make your life significantly easier if they can look you up and you're the first person on Google. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is true. And where I was going to go, just to briefly touch on this earlier. So we said email, inbound from social media, and then ads from social media.
Mhm.
Every single one of those major pillars is dependent on social media. So email less so, because you can send that in a one-on-one environment and they can't see, like, right there on the email thing, they can't see, oh, this person has, 0 followers on Instagram. But they are going to take the domain that you're sending from. So if it's Joe at, domain.com, they're going to copy and paste domain into their, Google or Safari or wherever, and they're going to look you up and they're going to see like what you are about. And if there's
Mhm.
nothing there, that's going to really hurt what you're doing. And then the other two, they're obvious, right? Inbound from social media. If you're not on social media,
Get on there.
you're not going to get inbound.
Yeah.
And then if you're running ads on social media, this one's interesting. So your account is going to be kind of like restricted in certain ways with the ad account. If it's brand new, it's fresh, it's not aged. And more so when people see your ads popping up, they're going to click the profile, like, because it's kind of masqueraded as a social media post. So they're going to click over onto your profile. And if you have 3 followers, no profile picture, no
No
post,
bio.
they're gonna be like, yeah, they're just gonna be like, okay, this guy's like a scammer.
Yeah,
So
and I
yeah,
mean,
even those people, like for example, like Sam Ovens, If you go watch his OG stuff on YouTube, the guy was spending $1 million a month on Facebook ads, $1 million a month, 7 figures. And this guy was like super hardcore into direct response, and he still had like 5,000 followers on Facebook, right? So that way, when people clicked over, they saw him, right? He wasn't using those followers to get sales. He was just using them as extra credibility. So
Yeah. So
I'll
I
let you
mean, the
take
biggest
that.
thing about social media, right, is the social proof, right? When someone does see you're calling them or you're emailing them or whatever it may be, and they go onto your page, the number one thing that they can see on social media is that you're a real person, that you're someone
Yeah,
that they can talk to, that you're someone that exists. That's not just a figure, right? Like not a scammer,
yeah,
right? They have a picture of you in their head, right? So it's really just social proof, right? That's the main thing I would say
yeah.
with the idea of social
And
media.
yeah, I mean, at this point though, it's like anybody can really send like 60,000 cold emails a month. I'm trying to calculate the math in my head. It wouldn't cost that much money. Like you would have to pay for
Mhm.
the tech stack to set it up, but it would not be that difficult to reach 60,000 people a month. Like you could do it for less than $1,000 a month.
That's a lot of people, though.
Yeah, like $60,000 is or excuse me, 60,000 people is a lot of people. Um, and basically, like it's not that difficult, meaning that there are a lot more people doing it because there's no real barrier to entry, right?
Yeah,
But building a brand, there's a barrier to entry to that because it's going to take time. It's going to take consistency to a certain
consistency
extent.
is
It
key.
may take capital skills. So there's a barrier to entry there, much more so than just sending somebody an email. Sending an email, I mean, if you do it from a Gmail account, it's free, which I wouldn't recommend, but you can do that. Building a brand, there's more of a barrier to entry there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, another thing that I want to say is the importance of consistency, right? Because I mean, you touched on it, right? But if you're not consistent, you're not going to get anywhere with social media, right? And that's something that I used to struggle when I was like set or whenever I was at 10 years old, right? I'm uploading gaming videos, right? It's like it's a hobby, right? It's kind of just for fun, but you have to take it more
Those
seriously
gaming
than that,
videos went
right?
hard. They went
Yeah,
hard.
we're gonna mention them every podcast, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, bro, you're not living this down. We're never gonna forget about this.
No, but basically the idea is that like if you're not consistent, right, you're not gonna get anywhere, right? Because when I was used to what I
Yeah,
was gonna get to with that is I used to do that and I would do it for like a week and then I would get tired and I would lose the little following that I did have.
yeah.
So it's like the idea is that if you're consistent, right? I don't know if I saw this on a clip the other day. I don't know where I saw it, but some guy was saying that only 10% of podcasts make it past their 10th episode, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
think about that. That's kind of crazy to think about just that people don't
We're
follow through,
20%
right?
there. We're 20% there.
20% there. But I mean, the idea is just how much consistency matters, right? Because if you're not consistent, you're not giving it a chance.
Yeah. There's a quote that I like, and it's like, you know how people say like showing up is half the battle?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I like this quote. I think it's from like Tim Grover or something. He was like the trainer for like Michael Jordan and like basically like all those big names of basketball. He was their trainer. And he says like people that say that showing up is half the battle are just that's a saying that losers like to say to themselves to justify a lack of effort. Something along those lines,
Mhm.
which is very true because it's like consistency is like consistency isn't key. Consistency isn't like anything special. Like it's prerequisite. Like you have to show up in order to see results. um so I think that a lot of people kind of like take that and run with it, like the importance of consistency, which it is super important, but it's like you also actually have to like make good content consistently. Like people say like quality quality over quantity, you know what I mean, or
Mhm.
quantity over quality, but it's like you need both, you know.
Yeah. And it's not
I
hard
can
to do
attest to
that,
that.
right? Like,
Yeah, and I go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that you don't need to be, I mean, I want to say this. I mean, you don't need to be Mr. Beast with your videos, right? You don't need to go and spend whatever the amount of money is, right? But there needs to be like, you need to just be, the quality of the videos needs to be good enough that you can watch through the videos you're making yourself,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you can't watch through
Yeah.
your own videos, then
And
I mean,
there
what?
is something to be said there for just putting out sheer volume just to get good at it, which is what I did. I was posting daily on YouTube for about 4 months. I think I missed like 2 uploads.
Hmm.
One of them was when like I think my phone like completely crashed, and the other one I think I was like moving or something, and it was just like a really really hectic day. And I got really good at speaking on camera. I mean, to a very good level, especially considering where I started at. Those first videos were pretty brutal. Um, but I wouldn't say that like my channel was blowing up to the level that I would want it to, simply because I was posting daily, meaning that I wasn't spending a ton of time editing.
Hmm.
I
And
barely even scripted the videos. I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. I literally just pressed record, just riffed for like 5 to 10 minutes. So I got really good at speaking to camera, but I didn't really see the success because the quality wasn't there. So you do need both.
and another thing that I wanted to touch on, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know how most people work, but I'm kind of a like when I'm in that like flow state, or I don't know, I mean a lot of people call it the flow state, right? But
Yeah.
it's like when I'm in the mode, I just want to get it done with, right? So there's a lot of days I'll sit down, I'll work on a lot of stuff, and I'll get it all done, and I'll just schedule it ahead of time, right? So I'll just schedule
Yeah.
videos for the next week and a half or whatever it may be, right? And I don't know if that works for people, but I don't know if a lot of people know that that's an option, right? You don't need to upload immediately as soon as you get the content, right? I just schedule my stuff. A lot of the stuff that you're seeing on this channel is scheduled, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I mean, let's see. I'm trying to think of other things that we could add to social media. I mean, also you were
I mean,
talking about. Huh? Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. No, you can go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was in one of those states today where it was just like getting stuff done, and it's like I think that you should really really take advantage of those states from what I've seen, just in my own habits in my own life, is like you have kind of two dichotomies, like two ends of the spectrum, and like one of them is like have like a system, you know what I mean? Like be very regimented, be very organized with your time, like time blocks, all that sort of thing. And then that's like very orderly, and then there's like very chaotic, like you're in that flow state and you just work for like 8 hours straight without taking a break. With like
Yeah.
you got all this stuff piling up on your to-do list that's like take out the trash, like
Whatever.
whatever, you know what I mean? And it's just
Yeah.
piling up just because you're in that state. And I would say just take advantage of it, to be honest with you. Like obviously, like, you know what I mean, take care of your environment around you, like
Mhm.
don't burn down your house, like keep things under control. But like if you're in that state, like just work.
Mhm.
That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a little bit on social media. I think we should think
Yeah, I
about
gotta
wrapping
hop
it
off here
up.
pretty quick.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, I mean, that's a little bit about some of the things that come with having a good social media presence. And yeah, so if y'all are enjoying the podcast, please feel free to drop a sub. It's greatly appreciated on
Don't
both of
don't
our
feel
ends.
free. You're required to.
You're
If you watch
required
this
to.
far,
Oh,
you're
if you've
required
if
to.
you've gotten to this point in the podcast, you're required to drop a sub. That's
Yeah.
that's Joe Jarvis, not me. It's Joe Jarvis. So yeah, just feel free to drop a sub and and anything else?
Now I'm gonna go choke some dudes out at jiu-jitsu. I gotta go to
I
that.
don't know if that's the best thing you should be saying on camera. I'm just gonna go displace some weight at the gym. Um yeah. All right. Y'all have a good
I think
day
I think we should call it. I
and
hope everybody
adios.
I
Bye
hope
bye.
everybody watching this has an amazing day. I love you all. That's all I have to say.
All right. Bye bye.